All right, kids, this is try number 6 on recording this particular video, so it's going to be pretty fast. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. We're going to be talking about Oreo persuasive paragraph writing and the steps in the writing process. All right, so once or twice this year we've talked about the steps in the writing process. They're pre-writing, rough draft, revising, editing, final paper, and publishing. In the pre-writing step, that's when you gather and you organize your ideas. You've already accomplished that. You did that by doing the Oreo graphic organizer and the sentence outline. You have already accomplished the rough draft stage because that's where you took those sentences from your sentence outline and you wrote them in that paragraph format. That became your first draft. So those 2 steps are done. Now we're here at the revising step, and that's when we're going to listen to what we've read and we're going to try to make improvements to it. Okay, we want to improve the content of it. It may not be making a whole lot of changes to make improvements. It may be taking some words out. It might be changing some words to different words, maybe using a synonym for a word, or it may be adding some words in. Revising is not correcting spelling or punctuation. That is a different step. So that is not what you're going to be doing. Revising is just reading and asking yourself, does this make sense? Does it flow? Have I used good, interesting words to draw a mental picture for my reader? That's what we're doing in the revising step. The revising step is one where you need to read your paragraph out loud to your co-teacher and possibly have your co-teacher read it out loud to you so you can listen and ask yourself, does this flow? Does this sound good? Okay? So before we do that, we're going to talk about the writing trait of word choice, and then we're going to talk about voice in writing. Okay, so you as a writer, what you're trying to accomplish is you're trying to draw a mental picture for your reader or for your audience. Primarily for this writing, I am your audience. So I want you to be thinking about writing in such a way as to draw me a mental picture of this favorite cookie that you've chosen. So a good writer will think carefully about the words they use, about how words sound when they're read out loud, how it looks on the page, how it works with the other words around it. You're going to think about how precise and unique the word is. When you write, you want to avoid overusing the same words that everyone else uses. Now, one word that's probably going to be used many times in your paragraph is the word cookie or cookies. You don't want to overuse that too many times, and I'll talk about that in my next video. You want to find fun and descriptive synonyms that will make your writing unique to your voice. So you want to choose precise, expressive words to make an impression. Now you might say, Mrs. Peck, I don't understand what you mean by voice. Think of it this way. If we were together at school, at Grace Prep, I would be able to identify you just by the sound of your voice, even if I did not see your face. You would be able to identify my voice as opposed to Mrs. Jones's voice, even if you couldn't see our faces, okay? Because you know what our voices sound like. I would say that even if Mrs. Jones or myself were writing to you, maybe we were writing instructions for you to follow, and we didn't put our name on it, you would probably be able to pick out which one of us wrote it just from the way that we would write it. You would be able to hear our voice in the way that we would write things because we're not the same person, so we wouldn't write exactly the same. So I bet that you would be able to make a guess. Oh, Mrs. Jones wrote this, or Mrs. Peck wrote this, because you know I've told you that I tend to write in complex sentences or inverted sentences. And so if you saw that, you might be like, oh, well, I remember Mrs. Peck told me that she tends to write that way. Or if you could hear that, you might be like, oh, that's definitely Mrs. Peck's voice in her writing. Okay? And so I want you to keep those things in mind as we get ready to revise. Okay, I'm going to wrap this video up, and then you're going to watch the video of me revising my paragraph, and then you're going to revise your paragraph. All right, see you in the next video.